Hello everybody, bit of a short and sweet video this week. I figured that sometimes you're just not really in the mood for doing a whole big, huge, massive piece of work, so decided to do something a bit smaller this week. As a part-time English literature degree student, I read a lot of books, both set textbooks and novels for my schoolwork as well as for pleasure. However, I've realised that I don't have any bookmarks. I tend to use rail tickets, post-it notes, paper clips, odd pieces of paper that I find, receipts. So I thought it'd be nice to have a few proper bookmarks to use. So, as an artist and as a general DIYer, I thought it was only right that I'd try to make my own. There was no plan for these. I just taped up some bookmark-sized pieces of watercolour paper, got out my paints, and had a bit of a play, trying to play with some wet and wet techniques, playing with some sort of dripping techniques, and just generally having fun. It's definitely a textbook case of jumping in feet first with no plan and generally winging it. This first one was very much a wet in wet technique, and also playing around with what is known as blooms, where you put like a wet paint on top of a slightly drier paint and it sort of bleeds in and causes some like hard edges. So I had a great fun playing with that, and it came out with a really nice sort of distressed almost denim-y sort of feel to it. But generally I wasn't really aiming for anything in particular. I was just having a play around and seeing what happened, and I'm actually really quite pleased about how they both turned out. This is the point where I'm playing around with the blooms. I'm really actually just using plain water and dropping it on areas of semi sort of dry paint, and the water spreads out and causes these hard edges and sort of like almost like a tie-dye sort of look and feel to it. And once it's finished, it looks really effective. It's just controlling it that's the issue. The second one was a lot of fun. This was literally just me playing around with drips, using the hairdryer to direct the drips in different directions, and pretty much using the brightest colours that I could think of and just letting them meld together and producing whatever secondary and tertiary colours they really wanted. So yeah, just putting in lines of bright colours, making sure there was a lot of water at the end, almost like a little droplet, so that I'd have something to sort of blow down the rest of the page using a hairdryer. And I just use various shades of reds, pinks, purples, yellows, and just see what happened. Took a couple of layers to get different sort of a lighter effect underneath and then a more saturated colours on top. But this one was really great fun. It's sort of textbook playing around with paints as like a child and dripping paints and, you know, melting wax crayons on canvas, and it had that sort of feel to it, and it was great fun to do. So after producing my first set of hairdryer drips, I just added another layer of the same colours over the top and repeated the same process, adding some more paint, making sure there was a lot of watery paint, and then again with the hairdryer producing more drips, and carried on until I got the effect that I was after. In some areas I directed the drips exactly where I wanted them by using my paintbrush to put some either water or just a little bit of paint so that the wet paint would have like a channel to go down, so I could get the drips in exactly the right place that I wanted in certain areas where it didn't matter what I did, the drips just wouldn't go there for some reason. And here are my finished bookmarks. This is the one I did with the wet in wet and the blooming. You see how it looks a bit like sort of denim. And here is the finished dripped colour explosion. These were both a really good way of practicing watercolour techniques, and you have something useful to use afterwards. Please subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, as well as comment in the comment section below. Always love to chat to you. The description box will have links to all my social media accounts and to the equipment that I use for these bookmarks. So until next time, I'll see you soon.